You're listening to another Woodshop podcast, the okayest podcast of its type. Your hosts are Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, Peter Kapar of P-Tree's Workshop, and Braden Boakes of Littlebug Woodworking. You can find them as well as the podcast on your favorite social media channels.
Welcome to episode 229 of Another Woodshop podcast, the first official weekly meeting of Makers Anonymous. Today's guest, much like us, it just tried a little making one time. Before he knew it, he was hooked, growing his hobby into a passion of working with his hands, and now a full-fledged business, educating makers at every level on how to get their CNC and their craft show game into the next level. Please help me welcome the Master Craftsman and the Master Craft Fair man, Alex Duffey from Duffey Woodcraft. Woo! What's up, buddy?
Why, thank you. Not much, man. How are you?
Oh, so great to have you on. The soft clap?
Awkward silence. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
Yeah.
So, speaking of awkward silence, Dan.
Our patron.
Yeah, let's go with it. No one talked, so that's what we're doing.
Well, I have some news. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Give you the good news.
We have one new patron.
What? Come on, ding dong.
That is Raul Lipschitz.
Gesundheit?
And look, according to my research, and I'm a pretty good researcher, I think this is one Greg Bennett.
I got him.
But according to my research, this is secretly actually network connectivity problems.
Anyway, thank you and welcome to the male army, Raul and or Greg.
What about the other ones?
Such a spicy name.
Let's talk about our VIP patrons for a moment, if I may. Raul Lipschitz.
Yoo!
Yeah, hey, Damon from BWG Woodworking and Jeremy Claybaugh. A big shout out to Jeremy Claybaugh for ordering a hat for me, even though it was about 19 days late. I appreciate you, man. Woodworking Weld, that is Mike over there. Roid Rage Pete, that is clearly Alex Adams.
Oh, I get it, because I'm on steroids right now.
Oh, that's right.
Because of the skin condition.
Steroid butt in the
I'm going to get swole. Anyway, speaking of swole.
We're going to talk about that.
John Herbolsheimer from Living Lath Woodworks. Jared LaPuma at LL Builds. Tyler Booth at Temecula Yard Games. Henry Lutens at Manfreda Wood. Charlie Coons at Stubby K Studio. Justin Frazier from Frazier Canyon Woodworks. Sarah Rose Goldstien with Rosie's Row Woodshop. Michael at Gillette Woodworks. El Jefe de la Madera. That is Jeff over at Maker's Way. Victor at Whim Designs. Nipples deep in cutting boards. That continues to be Nick Brim. Max and Liz Reed over at Redesign Co. Bill Burkle, WTB Woodworking represent. Jake Coney at Dobby's Craft House. The Omaha Turkey Stuffers Club. You are not a member, Patrick Ginsel.
Excuse me.
But you can be an honorary member. Ed Mancini over at Mancini Woodworking. Chris at Chris Will Make. Scott Shirk from Red Leg Custom Woodworks. Max and Mindy Coons at Stubby K Studios. And rounding them all out is Justin Bailey over at Campfire Studios. Woodworks. Why do I keep doing that? That concludes your VIP patrons for the month of November.
You!
Well done.
Scott is finally not. He must have forgiven Sarah about the apple pie.
When he learned that,
gave him a hard time on the stoop last week. It was like, oh my God,
that's still a thing. He had no idea.
I was hoping that he actually got the apple pie.
Nope.
No, I don't think he did.
He wasn't even there. He didn't even come out. Because he had a farm to run. Whatever. Backbone of America. Get out of here. Well, speaking of backbones of America, let's talk small business. Am I right? Yeah. With Quicken Loans, you can... I'm kidding. No, that's...
No.
But I want to shout out one of our patrons and our sponsor this week, Bill Burkle with WTB Woodworking. He opened up a just a storefront, a physical storefront on top of his awesome site that he's been building out, that's getting more and more information on there, including videos on kiln drying and how the process works, all their services, all the new tools that they're adding to the lineup. And if you're in the area and you want to go pick up the stuff or try to pick up a Festool drill, which is hard to do in our area because there's not a lot of stores, not a lot of woodcraft and rocklers around here. So you can go in, check the stuff out. They have Lamello, which is not seen almost anywhere. They just got all the micro jig stuff, including some stuff that I forgot they made, like the mag switch connectors, the vacuum hose ones. Yeah, cool stuff. They've got a giveaway running right now for a Festool drill that is running through a date in December that I don't have in front of me, and I'm definitely not stalling, and it's definitely not December 13th. Yes, it is. Okay, December 14th, they're going to pick the winner. This last Monday, they just had the guys from Chilpoxy come out and do a full demo and answer questions. Not only did they have it at the store, because it was like, it's a Monday, like I'm at work. Well, they did a live, so they threw it up.
Was it chill?
It was frigid. Honestly.
Chill vibes?
Yeah, real frigid vibes. And they had lo-fi playing. It was real chill. And they actually did a live of the whole thing, so I ended up watching it. Learned some little stuff about, some big stuff too, actually, about curing epoxy. So it's kind of cool that Bill's also offering that. So make sure to go sign up for the giveaway so that maybe under your tree, you're going to have an extra Festool drill. And go check out the site for all the specials that they got there and in-store specials that are even more magical than the stuff you find online if you're nearby. So go check them out. All the information's in the show notes. They're in Huntingdon Valley, PA. Woo! Whoop, whoop. Ric Flair. Bill Burkle. Woo!
Well done.
Well, speaking of extraordinary things and people, someone that has
patrons?
No,
wait, we already did that.
Unless he's a free patron. Do that. So we've got a guest this week.
Ooh.
If you don't know who Alex Duffey is, you need to do your research, because if you do any kind of craft show work, I bet you Sarah's going to be like, I don't know who Alex is. Well, you should, because you do craft shows now, and he is slowly becoming like the craft show king of all the info. Well,
I feel confident in saying that if you don't know who Alex is, you are going to know who he is by the end of this episode.
You're going to get known. So, Alex,
who
the hell do you think you are? Give us your elevator pitch.
Oh, well, I never do this well, but let's see. I was born in Florida, raised in the Midwest, yay, Minnesota. Let's see, went to school for video production, which I don't use at all. Go cheese. I moved to Pacific Northwest in 2008. I've been married out here for 15 years. And yeah.
Are you married everywhere else also? Or is it a location?
My wife says I have another bride in China, but that's a whole nother story for another time. So I grew up in apartments all through my life. And then when my wife and I bought our first house is when I kind of started the whole DIY world and got into it and started doing YouTube University like everybody else. And in 2019 got my first lathe, and that's what really got me excited, because I have ADHD like every other maker, and I like the instant gratification of being able to throw something on the lathe and be done in 30 minutes.
Wait, what?
What?
I've been doing this wrong. I didn't.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
But yeah,
buy
a lathe. Do things in 30 minutes and you can be done. But I never sold a thing on the lathe, so I stopped doing lathe work. Except for some random UFOs now and then. So which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see, during COVID, my wife and I were foster parents, and so I needed some away time and me time. So I spent it in the garage working on stuff. Bought my first CNC. After making 100+ cribbage boards by hand, which I don't recommend doing ever.
Oh, you went full Lee Omen with that. Ooh.
I made 2 with the CNC, and that was too many.
No, I had the little rockler jig where you just drill over and over all 192 holes constantly.
Well, that's how many there are.
Did you dream of drilling holes?
There were days.
Fall asleep thinking about drilling holes? I would.
He would frequently, obviously, go to the club afterwards because he'd already have his.
He's already doing
was ready.
At least you had a drill press and you weren't doing it by hand, and then like your pieces were all like going every which way. Why
It's
does it
true.
look like a drunk guy made this?
Yeah, he's going this way. And yeah, no, yeah. So it's all drill press, and I followed the kit. But after like 100+ of them, I was like, I need to automate this. I can't do it anymore. My arm hurts. So yeah, got a first CNC and really kind of got hooked on CNC work and have been doing stuff there ever since. Last year, started focusing on content creation, making sanding thought videos and other random Instagram videos. And then this year, I got my first sponsor after Workbench Con and started making full long-term videos on YouTube. And yeah, and I'm focused on YouTube now and growing that content. So it's been a lot
Love
of
to
fun.
see it. Love to see it. That's awesome. Well, I have a big question to start out with, and I think everyone's going to back me up on this. All right, so big topic, and especially in the Pacific Northwest. Bigfoot and aliens, real?
Absolutely.
But both or just one?
Oh, absolutely
Same?
both.
Okay, so there's not just in the
same.
ocean. No,
Not same.
so Bigfoot is real, aliens real, not necessarily the same thing.
That took a real
Absolutely.
hard left turn.
Well, what did you think we we're going to
Well,
talk about?
Cribbage boards to.
I mean,
aliens.
that's kind of my life. Is
Considering
either
I don't know how to
woodworking or
play
science
cribbage.
fiction.
I mean,
I'm convinced that cribbage is like an alien game. I don't.
Yeah. You'd be cutting cribbage holes by hand if you were abducted too, Dan. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
anything to forget.
Yeah, anything.
So
Make the sadness go away.
Alex, you've been making. I'm gonna shoehorn us back towards craft fairs, but
Thank you.
You've been doing craft fair stuff, but a lot of it has been UFO and Bigfoot focused products.
Yes.
And it's
this
been a
is
lot
a
of fun
thing with
watching
you.
that develop.
Dan didn't do his research.
No, it didn't.
I'm the researcherist.
How?
Researcher.
Why? And I'm asking this because I know about one of the events that you kind of got rolling with this, but explain how you kind of went down that path because that's different.
Yeah. So when I first started out, eventually my wife was like, "Hey, you need to start selling your stuff to pay for this hobby because I'm not paying for it anymore."
I'm
And
done
so I
losing
started,
money. Yes.
Yeah. So I started doing craft fairs, and out here in the Pacific Northwest, Bigfoot is a big thing. And one of the actually last Christmas, one of the craft fairs I heard about from another vendor was a Sasquatch Fest, and so
Oh my goodness.
yeah, and so I went and applied, and I was like, well, this will be fun, regardless if I don't sell anything. It'll be goofy, but I made like Bigfoot trays, the shape of the foot, and so people can put their charcuterie on a Bigfoot. And
really
it
know
was,
how to really know how to pander to the crowd there.
Each toe hole is
it
a
was-
different dipping sauce.
all
This
of
is my honey
stuff
mustard
was
toe.
themed. I had Tic Tac Bigfoot, so there were trees and Bigfoots as the pieces.
I saw that in the alien one too, right?
In the alien one, yep. Yeah, so I totally went total theme on all of it, and it was an incredible show. It was the best show I ever did to that point.
Oh my goodness.
And so I started signing up for every single cryptid market, which is a big thing, especially Portland. It's called Portland Keep Us Weird, or Keep Portland Weird is the slogan out here. And so,
So you niched down
every
even
UFO
more.
fest. Oh yeah,
I have a
went
confession.
hard down into the UFO and Bigfoot stuff.
I
Dan?
have been following you for quite a while since I met you at Workbench Con this past year, I think. I have never
Yeah, last
noticed
year,
the UFO theme until just now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Have you
scrolling
never
your
seen
page
his
going,
merch or anything? Literally has UFOs
How
in
did I
it.
miss this? I don't know. I just.
No idea, man.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, anyways, I noticed all the details. Usually. I'm very detail oriented.
Dan's very detail oriented.
Yeah, he's researched the wrong guest.
Yeah, he was looking at the other Alex.
Well, so when your wife finally shook you until you woke up and said, "Do a craft fair. You need to sell this stuff." What was your first craft fair? Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was Heritage High School Christmas Bazaar. So it was a holiday market, and it was I actually started researching markets in the area and found one that a friend ran. And had messaged her and said, "Hey, can I get in? I know it's last minute." And she's like, "Yeah, I can find a spot for you." And it was the coolest thing I had ever done. Like if you're a maker and you haven't done a craft fair, you have to do a craft fair because the gratification you get of seeing somebody get excited about your product, pick it up and go, this is so cool. I can't wait to give this as a gift, or I can't wait for this to solve a problem that I have, or so on. Everything that you do is all, especially when you sell it online, you don't see what your customers are doing or what they're thinking. But if you're at a craft fair and they pick it up and go, I want this, I like it, that's the way to go.
Yeah, right on. What about so you've done, do you know how many fairs you've done now? Do you keep a rough count?
It's on average 2 a month, and during Christmas, it's every weekend from the 1st of November through Christmas.
So given that you've done about 500 of them since you started, do you remember your best and the worst? Can you give us a quick story about like your best and worst craft fair experience?
Yeah, so my best was actually a couple weeks ago, which was at a casino. It was a big market casino.
What?
Yeah, they do a craft and ale fair. So it's a beer fest and a craft show.
Dan, make a note. We're finding one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm making notes.
Oh, is that the one that you had that really, like, I saw that display you did?
The big end cap.
And I was like, man, like, we're not even, like, playing in the same category as this guy.
We're collecting baseball cards, and he's Ken Griffey Jr.
Dan, go to his site and just scroll down to the, almost to the bottom. It's a shot of the double-decker table setup that they have.
Yeah. Yep.
Bro.
Is this how you keep me from participating in the podcast? Is that how?
No, I'm just giving you reference points to show you how Alex is better than all of us combined at craft fairs.
DuffyWoodcraft.com.
Duffy with a EY. So that was your best one?
Yeah, so I did my 5 times my average that fair. I literally sold half of my inventory that I planned for the entire Christmas season at that one market. And I had planned on 8 markets this year, and that was half of it in one market.
Holy moly. That is
how does that
display.
Like
Okay.
Was it a planned event at the casino? Was something they just put there and people going through the casino just happen to take advantage? Like how?
So it's their second year doing this ale and craft fair, and it is spearheaded by a retail store in the area called Pop Local. They're one of my retail stores that I'm in, and so they approached me last year, but I was already committed to a different show, which I highly am sad I went to compared to what it could have been after this year. And so this year when the signups went, I'm on it right away. Got the double spot. Because that's the spot that you're seeing there on that image. That's a two booth setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
what about the worst?
The worst. The worst was this past summer. It was Bigfoot Fest in Portland. It was another one of the themed markets that I do, but this one, it was a trifecta of things. 1, it was a new location for this Bigfoot Fest. 2, it was this location was Oaks Park Amusement Park. So the idea was, a bunch of families are there and, you get people to come in. Well, they charged admission to the craft fair area, which was not something you should do.
Instant game over.
Yeah.
Instant game over.
Yeah.
But 2, the week before, Oaks Park had a ride. You probably saw it on TikTok and Instagram that got stuck upside down.
Oh,
and
yeah. I remember that.
Everywhere because a bunch of people got stuck upside down for like 30 minutes. Yep. So that was the week before the fair. And that weekend of the fair, they shut down I-5 for construction, complete shutdown.
Oh,
so
cool.
Nobody wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it was a 6-hour fair, and I left an hour early because I was so over it.
I don't blame you.
That's about
you stayed longer than I would have.
Yeah, that was almost.
Yeah, well, I was having fun because it was a nice day outside, but it was the first market I've ever not made booth back, and so I was angry and I wanted to leave, especially when it started raining.
Oh, good.
I didn't make booth costs back once, but that was mainly because we didn't sell a lot, but then we also bought more food because the food is so good.
Yeah.
So we
That's
spent
always-
like $80 on food, and we're like, well, we didn't make the table back, but like we're going home with like $10.
Good day.
It's a good day. And I mean,
pretty good
I got a brisket sandwich in me, and a beer, and I'm good.
Going back to the. Go ahead, Braden.
No. I was
No,
just
no.
gonna say you're a better person than Dan and I. We almost packed up at this last craft fair.
Yes, in the first hour, we
Would've
were
been a
ready to be
mistake.
done.
It
Would have been a mistake.
Would have been a mistake.
Would have been a mistake.
You gotta give it to halfway. That's my motto as far as fairs go. You have to give it halfway because if they're not well advertised, people don't show up at the start. But if they so then they trickle in throughout the day.
Yeah, and that's
well,
exactly what happened at this
Yeah.
craft fair, I believe. We won't go into the details about how it was.
Well, we might
Uh,
eventually, because I think we want to maybe get into some craft fair
Yes.
stuff later. Dan, do you have a question? I feel like you're.
Yeah, I want to go back to the casino craft fair that you did really well at. Do you contribute that success to any sort of thing, or do you feel like I had the joke in my head that people went in there and they saw your stuff and they just kind of figured, well, that's a guaranteed win.
I like that.
You don't get at the casino often, so
I gotta say the ale probably helped, right?
Actually, it didn't. Surprisingly enough, the morning session, which was the family friendly and no drinking, was my best selling. As soon as they opened up the bar, sales plummeted.
it's the kids,
and I think it's
they're
just
drinkers.
Yeah, I think they just everyone stayed in the bar area and nobody went shopping during.
Oh
that
yeah,
time.
I can see that. I can see that.
All
Yeah.
right.
So as far as do I attribute to anything? One, tons of people. There were a ton of people that show up there, and they're there to buy. They're at a casino. They're spending their money anyway, so they're there
Oh
to
yeah,
buy.
they're in a spendy mood anyway. Yeah.
Right. And then two, a lot of my products, and you'll see it like in all my reels and everything, I make a lot of functional items. I don't make a ton of decor. I don't make things that are big, bulky. I make a lot of smalls because I want everybody to be able to afford something from me. So everything starts, I have ornaments that start at $3 and I have aggravation boards that are 100, and like that's my range. I don't have anything more expensive or anything cheaper. But my average sale is about $17.
That's
And then
really
I just do
encouraging.
a ton of sales.
See, that's encouraging to hear, because like sometimes we're encouraged to almost like you got to charge $20 for that ornament, otherwise you're not making your money, whatever. And like certain places that you go to, you can get that easily. Other places they'll look at it and be like, how is this $20 I can go to? They think like I can go to Marshall's and get for $20 get like 6 packs of shiny balls to put on my tree.
And that's what Braden and I have learned in the last couple of years of doing this is like in the beginning, we both took like cutting boards and we're proud of our cutting boards. So we were pricing them way too high, I think. And we didn't do super great. Go ahead.
We were pricing them for online pricing. That's what we were doing. We were pricing them to a different demographic.
Right. And then over the past like year or so, we've learned that the smalls are what drive the sales of the larger things. People come in and they won't be like, kind of driven away by seeing the high price of like cutting boards or whatever. It's the small items, the whiskey smokers, the coasters, the little tchotchkes, the coffee spoons or whatever. I see you got coffee spoons in yours.
Yep.
Oftentimes if people will buy those, then they're more willing to buy like an additional thing.
Right. And my mindset is I always kind of round down to the nearest dollar, but I round down. So the idea of everything is at a dollar mark. I don't have, $2.50 or something like that. It's at $3 or it's at 10 or 5 because people find a lot easier. Oh, I can give you a $10 bill for that. That's fine. I don't want to give you $12. It's just that mentality, that sales mentality. But Again, and if you look at my booth, my larger items are usually off to the back or to the side. It's because what I'm doing is I'm drawing people in with those smaller items to begin with. My smallest item, my ornaments, are right there in the corner with lights on them, and they're 2 for $6. And that's because people see them, they look at them, they spend a lot of time sorting through all the different designs I have. And then as they're doing that, they come over to pay, they go, ooh, there's a coffee scoop. Ooh, there's this. And they're just easy extra little add-ons that they can grab. So my wife and I
Smart.
really focus on, especially ahead of time, if we know the size of our booth and what it's going to look like, we actually graph out
So there's a bit of psychology to it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we graph out like what's going to be on each table and where the table placements are going to be, because it really does help you pre-plan, one, for setup, because it's a lot easier to set up that way if you know where it's all going, but two, it also allows you to play around with, all right, I want these here because it's going to draw someone in.
I'm taking notes of this too.
So,
Great.
Yep.
I was going to say, just to be clear, Dan and I will never graph out our displays. And it's not because it's not probably a really good a thing to do. We just know ourselves. we feel the space.
I give the credit to my wife because she's the one who came up with that.
No, that's brilliant, really.
Yeah, I did learn something. You said you have lights on some of your product. Dan, bring a flashlight next weekend. We are gonna bring Sutton. We'll split it, and he's just gonna stand there and be our overhead
Sutton,
light.
just hold the light up. Higher.
If your arms drop once, not paid.
And especially if you have things that are multi-tiered. So like I have those collapsible bookshelves that I sell things on. I buy the magnetic puck lights that go up on the inside, and I turn those on during the show.
That's a good idea.
Because it lights up the shelves so people see it a lot better.
People aren't attracted to the things on the bottom shelf. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, I bring a little battery pack, and I have a Christmas tree set up with all the sample ornaments on there, and I have it actually lit up, and it's running off the battery pack if I don't have power at the table. So
yep, that's exactly what I do.
Little
I have
extra flair.
Jackery battery packs that I bring and power everything.
See, I like hearing that because I've actually been thinking about dropping the prices for my holiday market, because my ornaments, they're 3-layer laser cut, glued. They take a little labor, but I've been selling them for 20, and they sell. Like I can at this show for a single day, I can clear $700, which is not bad. Okay. But also it's going to be really freezing this week. But maybe I could clear more because like my ornaments are my hottest sellers. Maybe if I make them 15, maybe I'm going to be able to sell more. So it's like,
yeah, you got to look at your price value and what it really is worth for you. Like to me, it's always, from my point of view, it's 30% of the cost on top of the cost, plus I basically double it for my time. So whatever the cost is times 30% times 2. That's my
so your time
theory
times 30, or sorry, your material plus material times 30%, 0.3 plus, or no, then you times 2, the whole thing.
Then I multiply 2 for my time. Yep.
Okay.
I'm writing this all down.
I like
all
that.
Right, let's add that to our big scroll of pricing formulas.
Yeah, we'll release the pricing guide that we stole from everyone.
Yeah, just list it out on everything. That's like, this is what it actually costs me to make.
How you feeling about this? 55? 50.
So, yeah, Dan and we're bizarre. We're bizarre hustlers.
45.
It's been funny to watch, and it's interesting that you talk about like you round down and like you're constantly trying to push your prices to the value, but to where somebody feels like they're also getting a deal. Because that was the hardest thing for me personally when Dan and I started doing the craft fairs. Dan prices to move, and we're constantly arguing with him to bring his prices up. But I price to like, hey, I don't care if I sit on something, and that was kind of discouraging for a craft fair. And so I've watched myself like just slash prices as the couple years have gone by.
Race to the bottom. Come join me, baby.
Yeah, Dan. To where Dan and I walk in, and now we're pretty close to like, hey, this is where our price is going to be. And now it's at the point where I'm just like, Dan, price all my stuff. I don't care. Price it whatever you want.
So
I think there's a big thing to say about keeping them low. And I know a lot of people, you want to make it worth your while. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. What I'm saying though is that everyone's struggling right now. We know it's hard to, buy necessities. If I'm going to be as a small business and I'm going to be successful right now, I know that I'm going to be selling quantity versus
exactly
a few with a large price.
And that's how I view craft fairs. I'm pricing stuff to sell at volume and not one-offs, because I've already made all this stuff. I just want to move it all. I'm not trying to sell this one cutting board to one specific client online. So it's a different dynamic, right?
Exactly. And it kills me when I see people at craft fairs doing that, because I talk to vendors. My whole thing is anytime I'm at a craft fair, I'm going to talking to all the other vendors, because it's a great networking. Two, I can find about other shows that way. But three, I like to see kind of, at the end of the day, especially how did they do compared to me, because I want to know my price is too low, too high, so on. And it kills me when I see somebody who's angry at the end of the day because they didn't make a single sale. But I sit there and look, and keeping in woodworking, I look at a cutting board and I see a $400 cutting board. And I'm like, you're at the wrong spot for a $400 cutting board.
Yeah.
There's a market out there, but it's probably not going to be at a craft fair.
You just put your material away in those black and yellow bins, but each one's by price. So you're like, I'm gonna keep the 2 to 400 bin behind the table.
At home.
That home.
Right.
I know Justin Bailey from Campfire Woodworks sells cutting boards at that price. Regularly.
But he has become a luxury cutting board supplier. Like, he's got the hookup already.
And his boards are worth that much from what I've seen online. I don't think I've ever seen him in person, but pictures, he knows how to take a good picture. Now, if he were to try to take those boards and sell them at a craft fair, I'm not sure they would move, right? Because people are coming to look for deals.
They would move.
Right. Craft fairs are a step up from a flea market in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you're not there to buy. Yeah, and I'm speaking about my area. In my area, you're not going to a craft fair to buy a high-end piece of furniture. You're there to buy a coffee scoop.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's kind of interesting that you say that, because Dan and I bring, and mostly Dan, we bring side tables, and like Dan sells at least one side table every single craft fair. Heck, we had one. I think it was West Side. We sold like every table you brought.
Yeah,
which was fantastic for carrying stuff out back to the truck.
But terrible for the customers that those were actually made for Etsy. That they had to wait longer.
It just happened one time.
We'll get into that if we do what's on our bench.
But I mean, like, listen, the whole like know your market thing is very important, because, like, I'll give you an example. So Sarah from Rosie's Wood Shop, she doesn't have a laser that she can cut the ornaments with. I laser cut her ornaments, and I charge her $50. She gave me the material. It's those 12 by 12 sheets. She can get 9 out of the sheet. I go, it's $15 for the sheet. Just like I cut them out. There's no engraving. Or some of them have engraving. It's just line engraving. That's it. So it's pretty fast, and it's $15. She sells them single layer 1/8 inch Baltic birch for $15 a pop, and she sells them. Like, she sells them at these places, and some of them are like even more. It's a know your market thing, because she's willing to actually go to these like kind of crazy places to do an event. You have to haul something through New York City to this one park that has it, but like, she'll make bank doing it. So it's it's a how much is it worth? And if you haven't done it enough, it's kind of hard to like gauge that sometimes.
And you definitely have to know your area, as you're saying. Like, New York is a whole different beast in its own. So, and like my ornaments, they're nowhere near that fancy even. I live in the Pacific Northwest. There are trees everywhere. Whenever somebody cuts down some limbs, I take a few of the limbs, I let them dry, and then I run them through the bandsaw and just make little cookie slices. And then I engrave them with the laser. That's my ornament.
I like that. Yeah, why not? Keep it simple. You actually, you mentioned that you're employed by someone. You have a boss, Victoria, right? So,
no, that's not. That is my life boss, but I am employed by a different company as well.
So you and your wife started doing shows together, and she does some of the more, I guess, embroidery work or some like rope work for plant. Isn't it? Is that what it is?
Nope. Sorry, she doesn't do it. No, it's okay. So my wife doesn't. She helps me at the markets and is kind of my helper, but she doesn't make any of the items.
Oh, she doesn't make any of the items. Okay, so she just helps out with it. My apologies. Yep. Sometimes I do my research wrong. But so, do you guys? Is she there for all the events, or as a backup, or is it a once in a while thing?
Lately it's been every event, because especially the last year and a half, I've basically bought doubles at every event, because I have so much stuff and I sell so much, so I need that second hand. And even if when we do the casino again next year, I'm going to end up buying having another helper as well, because we need a third person.
Awesome.
But yeah, so it started with just me doing them myself, and I would have just run my one table, and then about a year and a half ago, she started joining me on them.
That's
Very
great.
cool.
I'm going to have Emma this weekend. It's going to be awesome because otherwise doing it solo on a holiday event could be rough.
One more
It's
question.
It's hard.
Do you find it is very important to interact with potential customers as they walk up? Because Braden and I,
Absolutely.
we are very like vocal and we're extroverted and we're out there and we're chatting with people and making stupid jokes and then and then we can look across the craft fair and see people sitting behind their table and just doing this the whole time with their phone.
And
I stand
guarantee
the
you
whole
at the end of the
time.
day, they're going to be unhappy because they didn't make a lot of sales.
Right. And they're unengaging.
Yeah,
they don't look very inviting. You don't want to walk up and talk to them. So that I think that's a huge driver to get people to come to your booth, is to be inviting and be friendly.
Exactly. Unless you're making a reel to get people to come to your event, or you're taking credit cards on your phone if you don't have a Square device or whatever, your phone should be away. You should never take it out during a craft fair event, because it is a turn off to the person walking by, because they see you checked out. They're not going to check into your booth. And I make tons of small talk with people, and I may not like somebody's sweater, but if I see a novelty sweater, I'll be like, that sweater's great. And they stop and they, oh yeah, thanks. I got it from blah, blah, blah. And then they start looking at your table, because they've stopped and you've broken their rhythm of them walking.
Hey, I complimented you. Now you have to buy something.
Reciprocate.
May I recommend this side table?
And it is just a psychology of just, you have to break them out of whatever they were thinking and refocus them on something you have on your table. And if you can do that, even just with a sleight of, as bad as it sounds, a sleight of your hand of while you're talking, and pick up a coffee scoop and just kind of start fidgeting with it. And they go, oh, what's that?
Oh, this old thing?
Yeah, and it's just be like, oh yeah, it clips, or because so many, like my coffee scoops are the scoops themselves, but also have the clips so you can clip the bag shut. I'll start fidgeting with the bag and then clip it on, and they go, oh, that's so cool. Like things like that, where you can just start fidgeting with something as the nervous tick, and it breaks whatever they're thinking about and focuses it on whatever your item is.
All right, so let me ask you this, for a little flair to be added to your table, because sometimes they set you up in a place and it's that dead silent, just silent. No one's talking. It's just quiet. We bring a speaker.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
that's literally what I was about to ask.
And I play like just Christmas music or like lo-fi Christmas. So it's like, it just something in the background, just a little noise.
Bangers.
Well, like during a regular year, I do that. But just
straight out of Compton.
Joe Rogan at 11, just cranked it up.
No,
like we play music. Like, do you recommend or not?
Absolutely. And that was the best piece of advice I ever got from on my very first market, that very first Christmas market. It was dead silent, and the lady next to us brought out her husband's big DeWalt shop speaker,
power move,
and started cranking started cranking Christmas music. And as soon as the Christmas music came on, people started congregating in our area. And so, and she told me, she's like, it relaxes people. It lets them, they get excited about the music, but it really breaks their anxiety of just, think about it. You're looking at somebody across the table and it's silent, and it's like, buy my stuff.
You want to talk?
Are you gonna buy it?
Yeah. So music is key. I have.
When did we start doing that?
Over the last couple of years, I created an 8-hour playlist for Christmas and for markets that don't repeat at all. So it's a huge playlist in Spotify.
It doesn't repeat because the Pedro song, the second time,
it never ends.
It's a totally new experience. That's exactly what I was gonna ask about or comment. This is the sneaky trick that I do. So Dan's correct. We play 100% bangers, like 90s top hits. I don't care what time of year it is. We're dropping bye bye bye. Yeah, we're dropping In Sync. We're dropping back. Anything that will, like you said, break their rhythm. And somebody having Run DMC suddenly start blasting at a craft fair stops everybody. When I see families walk by, I'll turn on the Bluey theme song and just
this is true.
And then they start.
Or DuckTales. He plays DuckTales a
I
lot.
love the
DuckTales,
DuckTales
yeah.
theme song. And then the kids get hauled in, and then we bring 3D printed stuff, not because we plan on making any money. It's our Costco hot dog.
Yep.
We will hand stuff to kids. Like, there's kids that are just
Costco hot dog.
they're
That's
not
true.
misbehaved.
There goes Braden giving out glizzies to the little ones again.
But craft fairs are like it's kind of a hard place for kids to exist in because they want to touch everything and they're not allowed to touch anything. And so when kids are kind of like getting a little out of control, Dan or I, we will literally hand them a 3D printed thing that they can take for free.
Yep.
And it distracts them long enough.
Some little fidget thing or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it distracts them long enough for mom or dad to look around and buy something. It was the first customer that we got at this last one. I laser engraved a Christmas ornament with their last name to give mom a break. Like, just let her look for a bit.
She came to
Just
buy
gave
I
her-
recently had
And she
that
bought.
same idea, Braden, and I've started 3D printing whistles.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's
now.
devious.
oh my
That
god.
is devious.
You're a nightmare. What is wrong with you?
See, but
Uncle
here's the thing,
Alex
a
is
lot
a-
of
is a
a lot of
bad
parents, a lot of parents come out to these events to buy time. They'll spend money on products to buy time for their kids to just not yell in the house. So,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, Alex, because to keep it on the same theme, Dan, I'm gonna let you finish in a sec. But we kind of went over some things that you think are good. I'm gonna rattle off some things, and I want you to go, yes, or like worth it. Like,
Lightning
what's the
round.
return on, like a lightning round, return on investment, or is it worth it? Because some people think you have to have like a special setup or whatever. Like, I want to know what your feelings are on it. So we already covered music. You said big yes, right? Music,
Yes.
big yes. Lights or some kind of extra,
Yes.
big yes. Just maybe stay away from strobe lights.
Disco ball.
Banner of your company,
Absolute big yes.
big yes. Okay, fitted tablecloths. So just, but what would you recommend then? Like just a simple black one, white ones, like some with the people make ones that
I
like.
I stick with the Amazon $10 2-pack of the spandex tablecloths. Like, it's
Love
super
it.
easy, cheap.
All right, vertical display of your goods.
Absolutely.
I think I agree with that one too. All right, so this one, I have these like folding shelves that like fold up flat and then pack out. I actually bought a second one for the show. Shelves, and then, well, first of all, shelves. How do you feel about that? Like off to the side or behind you?
I have 3 of those bookshelves that you're talking about.
Love it. Stock behind you. How do you feel about that?
Depending on the market.
Okay. What would you put
if
in that
you-
usually?
Oh, that
So
brings up another
if-
question. Okay.
If you have the ability to hide it so it doesn't look messy, that would be my recommendation.
I apologize. Stock for sale. Visible items behind, like when you go to a gun
Oh.
shop and you got the nice guns out back, like
Got it.
just like
Don't
cutting
recommend it.
boards. You don't recommend it.
People, in my experience, people don't look past you.
Okay, I like this. This is good. What about nice packaging? Like I get these like nice like paper bags with a little loop. But like if someone buys like a lot of random stuff, I just have like thank you bags. What are your thoughts on those?
Well, if you buy a lot of stuff, I have the same little plastic thank you bags, but I do have 4 different sizes of paper bags, and my wife has hand stamped every single one with my logo front and back.
That's my next question.
And she made and multiple vendors have made the comments when I've talked to them at the end of shows going, "Oh, I saw your bags everywhere." And so it's free branding for you everywhere you go. And those event people who are there paying attention to who's selling and selling well, if they see your bag everywhere, they're going to invite you back.
I love this.
Good
Okay,
thinking.
so stamping the bags. Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
There's another layer of marketing there. You're not just marketing to other customers. You're marketing to
love
other vendors and people running
Absolutely.
the events. Okay.
All
smart.
right, last one for me at least. Demos. Doing a demo.
Yes.
So you talked about it a little bit.
I do a few. I do not. The big one is the whiskey smokers, right? And I don't light whiskey smokers on fire inside. I
We've had
absolutely
this
will not.
conversation.
Wow, that's weird.
Um,
That's like what I said.
Yeah, absolutely
Whatever.
will not. I do have a cup, and I show and I mime it, and the sign I have for whiskey cups has the 4 pictures of the 4 steps, and I have a QR code to a video I created of me doing it, so that I can train the individual how to do it. So I have other options. Otherwise, most of the time, I don't do demos.
I actually have
Okay,
one last one. Sorry, just to squeeze it in. Giveaways. Like, hey, sign up for my list or whatever.
A raffle.
A raffle.
I've tried it. I didn't get any traction
Okay.
on it, so I haven't done it.
All right.
Okay.
That's it.
Good
End
to
of
know.
my lightning round. Do you guys have any other ones to add while I've been talking?
Yeah. I was looking at your booth and I was thinking back at some of our booths. Usually, so like the booth on your website, obviously all your booths probably don't look like this. But when we set up a booth, we try to set the tables around the perimeter of the room, and then that way we can engage with people more. Would you prefer that, or would you rather be on the other side of the table?
Well, so that was the casino, that specific one you're looking at, and
Right.
that was an end cap. So I basically couldn't, because there was no way to encapsulate people the way the end cap was. So in that case, I was that. When I'm out with a 10 by 10 tents, I line the 10 by 10 tent, so I bring people inside.
A U or an L?
Usually a U.
Okay.
Because it lets traffic flow in better, right?
Exactly.
That's a big debate. I feel like people talk about like, no, you want everything on the outside so people can just like walk in from any angle, and like, well, if you look busy, that's a good thing. So
well,
people
and
are
it also
inside
depends
your U.
on. It depends on where you are, because a lot of craft fairs, they're going to put your 10 by 10s right next to each other. So you can't have people coming in from the sides. So if you have that
True.
U, they're just going to walk in and around.
And if you have a U, you have more table space available.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
All right. This is great info. We learned more in the last like 20 minutes, I feel like, than
I've
the rest
taken a
of
lot
the
of
stuff.
notes.
Yeah, a lot of notes. I'm going to listen back to this.
So you have,
It's
you have a ton of SKUs, you have a lot of products and a lot of different types of products that you sell.
Yep.
I'm asking this purely from a selfish point of view. Like, what is your ratio of like whiskey smokers specifically to other products that you sell?
Like how many whiskey
Like how many
smokers I
you sell? Yeah. Like, okay, actually, let me rephrase that. What is your top selling product?
See, everyone asks that, and it's like a combination of everything. So the first product I
top
sold
three?
out of this year was my Yahtzee and card boxes.
Okay.
So I've completely sold out of those right off the bat. Coffee scoops, I'm already on my second production run. I had to remake more. Toaster tongs, I had to remake more. And so those are my top three this year so far. And aggravation boards. Those the big game boards. I only made 11 of them to start, and I sold out of them all in the first two markets.
Wow.
So I've been making more.
I'm always really interested to hear this question because everybody's answer is different.
Yeah.
Dan and I could not give away toaster tongs. We tried. We could not give them away.
What was your price point?
$10.
Okay, that's what mine is. So a big selling point for me too is I put the little magnet in them, so you can just magnet it on the side of your toaster.
There you go.
And that, as soon as you mention that, it like hooks the person in, because they're like, oh, now I'm not going to lose it.
Every single person we talk to is like, God gave me tongs. What are you doing? I think maybe in the Midwest, like people aren't toasting stuff in the toaster as much. I don't know what it is.
I always joke around with them about it. So my little sales pitch is like, oh, they're like, oh, toaster tongs. I was like, yeah, it's perfect. You can grab your toast real quick. So one, you're not burning your fingers, but two, I don't want to electrocute myself. Do you want to electrocute yourself? Like,
Yeah,
I
make a fork in the toaster joke as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you guys need to like maybe just get new toasters. Like something may just be wrong with your toasters.
No,
you guys don't toast your toast over an open fire like I do every morning.
Don't stick metal in your toaster, man.
I just grabbed the toast, but
it's funny. It's also funny that your coffee scoops. I mean, Braden makes the coffee scoops usually. I think I could count on one hand how many you've sold in the last couple of years.
I think my best sale is the one that hasn't happened yet, but it's the guy that did the wholesale order at the end of the last one. He was really interested in the coffee scoops, but
he has a coffee
have
store.
to like explain what they are to everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I really wanted to mention this too for the viewers. So wholesale is a big thing that I try and focus on as well, because I do have retail partners, but then I also have other maker partners that I work with. And the big ones for me are my soap dishes, and then the coffee scoops are becoming a new wholesale item as well.
Interesting.
So at every market, I always, if I see a soap, especially soap, and then now it's becoming in Portland, we're big coffee people, so there's roasters.
So I've heard.
If I see either of those, I walk up and I hand them one for free. And I say, hey, this, and I give them my spiel, like the soap dishes, I make them out of juniper. They're rot resistant. You can just leave them in water. You don't have to worry about it. And then, so on and so forth. And I give them that whole little spiel, and I say, here you go. Go ahead and take this. This is on me. If you're interested, this is my wholesale price currently. Let me know if you want to work together sometime in the future. And it works. So I sell to some local soap makers in the area, my soap dishes, and I just made my first deal with a coffee scoop last weekend
Nice.
from somebody
Very cool.
that works,
I never would have thought of that.
does his own coffee roasting.
The wholesale deal that Braden and I got just kind of like fell on our lap.
Yeah,
So
we
it was
lucked
like,
out on that
this
one.
is
I run a
an
strip
option?
club, and these cutting boards look great.
Yeah, you really want those finger foods while you're at the strip club.
oh god.
Let me get some toaster tongs. Yeah, no, that guy. So he runs a retail, like a handmade, locally made type store, and he just came up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm always looking for new stuff. You guys have great stuff." And he came up at the beginning and said, "I want to buy these 3 things, everything that you've got left at the end of the show. I don't want to buy it now because you don't want to run out." And he came back and he bought every single cutting board we had left and almost all of our whiskey smokers.
That's incredible.
At least he didn't try to hit you with the consignment thing, which actually
We
would
made
love to.
We
he
made about
offered.
$50 on this deal. It was an amazing deal.
No, he offered because I asked him, because he was talking about buying them for his retail. I asked like, "Hey, what's your split on consignment?" Because I'm not like a huge fan of consignment. If I were
Alex,
to
you're
rank
shaking
them,
your head. I see.
I'm in no way interested in consignment. I'm less interested in like a profit split sort of situation. I really like wholesale because I want to be just like out of my hair. I don't want to deal with like you sending me sales reports or whatever.
There you
Just,
go.
Here's the stuff. Give me money.
I don't want to think of this product ever again when it leaves my shop.
Yeah, this is your problem now. But it worked out pretty well. So Alex, and we guessed on our wholesale pricing. How do you figure out like what's your wholesale pricing strategy?
The minimum I'll do is a 50-50 split of the profit. So that's the lowest I'll go, is what I'm saying.
So like if
for
you're
example,
selling a board for 50, you
let me
want
just
them
give
to
you my
wholesale it
coffee
at
scoop.
25? Okay.
Yeah, so basically my coffee scoop, my cost is it's $2. I sell them for 10. I won't split that 8. I won't take any less than $4 profit from the wholesale deal. So I'll wholesale them for $6 to somebody at the lowest price. And it really depends on what they go from there. So if they're a small person, I usually go down towards that little one because I know it's not going to be a lot of sales. But if I find somebody that has their own restaurant or their own roaster and it's actually a physical location, they're only getting $2. They're getting the honor of having my product.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. So
love it.
Yeah, that's kind of what we'd worked out. It ended up being pretty much about 40% markdown from our retail pricing.
Yeah.
And our craft fair pricing is different than our retail pricing.
And that's a good sweet spot.
Yeah. So, and it worked, and it gave him a huge margin.
Sweet spot.
$50. I told you we made $50. It was great.
So, it was good.
So we've talked, we covered, this is amazing information, by the way. This is really good. We talked craft fair stuff. We talked a little bit with wholesale orders. I want to move it to the production part of it, the actual shop, right? So first of all, you said you lived in apartments for a while, but like now you're in, I'm assuming, a home, you have a shop. What's the shop space look like? And if there was a shop tour I missed video, I apologize, but what's your setup
like? Not yet. So my shop tour video is coming as soon as I clean after this Christmas production run. I'm gonna, and it's nice and pretty. I'm gonna do a shop tour video for 2025. So my shop, when we moved into this house, our garage is a 2-car garage wide, 1 extra garage tandem. So it's 3 cars, one of them's tandem, right?
Okay, nice.
And so when I originally started doing lathe work, I built a wall to cut off that third car spot. So that was my shop. My shop is now the entire garage, and I just haven't taken down that wall yet.
Your wife is very understanding.
Well, now you have a clean room. Quote
Oh
unquote.
no, it's all nasty.
The dirty room.
No, and my wife, she's very understanding, though she's not happy about it. This is not our forever home. We want in the next. We'll see how the economy goes in the next few years. We would like to buy some acreage and then build a separate shop.
Okay.
So yeah, and my hope is if I get some acres, like 10 acres, I want to start a West Coast maker camp. That's my whole goal.
Yeah, let's go. I love it. Sorry, I'm very excited for that. So what's your like dream shop situation? Because obviously, like me personally, I don't want like some crazy warehouse space. I want something that's intimate but big, like a 30 by 40 for me with a nice little like awning, area on the outside, like 10 by 30. Like
you want
in a urinal trough.
And a urinal trough, of course. Yeah, that goes without saying.
You want a massive warehouse, but you want to wear a little lipstick.
Sure, why not? What's
intimate? Come on.
What's your like
my current design? My current design, because we've already started designing it out for when we build, is 40 deep, 90 wide.
Whoa!
Like some of that is going to be 2 offices, one for my wife and I, because we both work from home. So we'll have 2 offices for each of us, or an office for each of us. And then she'll have a little spot she likes to do glass work, and she just doesn't have room here at this house since I've taken it all over. So she wants a glass studio. So that'll be that portion. But then the rest of it will be shop. I want to section off an area for a clean room for finish, and then there'll also be an area for air drying.
Right on. Oh, so you are dreaming big. There's no little.
Yep.
Dream big or go home or something.
40
foot deep, 90 wide. That's the goal right now.
40 by 90. Suck it, Drew Witt.
Yeah, I was gonna say make Drew Witt look like a little.
Let's just say this: the house we want next to the shop is about a third of the size of the shop. Like,
so you want a shop with the house. You don't want a house.
We
with
want
a shop.
shop, and then 2 rooms we sleep in.
Exactly.
I can get behind that.
All right, so that's
this
awesome.
is our shop. This is our shack.
So clearly, you've got your shop and everything, but like you got to store all the goods that you bring to these events. So what is, first of all, you're holding a lot of inventory. What is your storage solution for that? And is that how you're bringing it to and from? Like, I want to hear how you bring all that material to a craft fair and then back home. Go.
So one, I have an F-150. Thank goodness. I have
weird
a truck
flex. Okay.
Weird flex. Yeah.
Well,
I love having a truck. So I say that because everything I do is in totes. They're just in the cheap little totes. I find them on Facebook Marketplace whenever some other maker is getting rid of all their totes, and I'll buy them all in bulk. And so all my stuff throughout the year is just stored in totes, and I stack them up. And they're stacked up in one of the corners of the garage.
So all the totes are different?
Pretty much.
Oh, that would drive me insane. See, I went with the black and yellow. I
fully invested
the Home Depot, and so I have 4 totes for the market, and it's everything for that.
You and Braden are the same, and me and Duffy are the same. I got totes. They don't match. I'm using some of my totes are old Postal Service totes.
Some are Menards bags.
Dan rolls in. They don't stack. They don't like nest together. And
start sliding off.
Like, you put your stuff over there. I don't want it to dirty my toes.
I will say in the next year or two, probably 2, the next investment is going to be a trailer, and I'm gonna when I do that, I want to get the big totes that have the wheels that you can just roll them in and out, and I'll just roll them into the trailer. And
so I was going to ask you, do you have a hand truck? Do you have a cart? Do you just carry them like a big man? Because you have an F-150?
He has a pickup truck. He said
a combination of a cart and a big man.
Okay.
Yeah, so
he just drives that F-150 right into the venue.
Just backs it through the wall.
If I can, I ask sometimes if I can put my truck right up to the spot.
That
would never hurts to ask.
Oh, great.
which is really upsetting for all the high school craft fairs.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
It is.
All right, so now another like more procedural question for you, and this is probably one of my last ones. So you do a lot of CNC stuff, and we talk about CNC stuff often here. You're making a lot of small products that are finished products when you're giving them to the customer. I'm assuming you're like us. You don't want them to feel rough. You don't want it to feel like there's some bit chatter on there or whatever. Like, what is your sanding solution for all of your CNC items? Like, are you doing the last little like bees pass at the end where it just takes off the fuzz, or are you doing I'm really dialed in and you're good and everything, or do you sand all of it? Do you use a spindle? I'm curious because you have a lot of very different shapes in all your stuff.
That
and
would
like,
be a nightmare to sand.
yeah, it's a lot
It
of.
is.
So what's your plan here?
Yeah, so it is a nightmare. So it is kind of actually a combination of everything you just mentioned. Since I remake files over and over and over again, I do dial them in really well. But a lot of like the game boards that have all the intricate, numbers and carvings and stuff in them, those all get a second pass to get rid of any fuzzies or anything like that. And then once they get off the thing, like toys or the Sasquatch figurines, those things, they all go on a spindle sander. I'll spindle sand them, and then I have a combination of hand sanding, and I use Go Surf Prep. I use the little Pro Foam, the square one, and that helps a lot of the rounded edges as well.
Use
Alex,
code AWP at checkout.
Alex, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice now.
Oh, here we go.
What's that?
Get yourself a Sutton.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
I would love to have a Sutton.
I'm
are
telling
cheap.
you what. It's a great investment.
I tell you
I mean,
what.
Just gotta
there's
pay
two
him
kids
and
that
give
live
him some
across the
sushi
street.
every now and then.
Yeah, there's two kids that live across the street that keep eyeing in my shop, and one of these days I'll just be like, "Candy," and bring them in. And
Anyway,
start
here's a sanding pad.
Sand for the candy. Sand.
Yeah,
It puts the sanding on. No, that's
No.
wrong
It
movie.
sands the hardwood or it gets the hose again.
It sands again or gets the hose again. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
t-shirt idea. Hold
Yeah,
on.
so sanding sucks, and that's why I do my sanding thoughts in my YouTube videos and on Instagram, because I do a lot of sanding.
And TikTok.
And I sit there and my brain gets bored and TikTok, that's right. And I get bored and I start thinking of like, oh, I wonder what that means or what this fact is. And I start looking them up because
what
it's
else
just
are you
where
going to
my
do,
brain
right?
goes.
So
Right, exactly. You're just sitting there for hours on it sanding.
I remember when you first started the sanding thoughts and you sent it to me and you basically asked like, is this a dumb idea or not? And I said, please do all of them. Please do all of these
Yeah.
forever.
And that was my first portray into real content creation, was focusing on a single series and doing that. And Braden, I really thank for that advice, because when I went to Workbench Con like 4 months later after starting that series, there were quite a few people that, and I'm still the small kid on the block as far as followers and stuff. There were large accounts that were like, "Hey, I've seen your sanding thoughts," and were excited to meet me, and it was a great icebreaker. So it was great. So thank you for that advice.
I love it. Well, I have one last question. Do you guys have any other ones before we jump into
I'm
other
fresh
stuff?
out.
All right, my last one is, so like you're slowly becoming an authority on CNC made craft fair content, right? Do you ever get any hate that are like, "What's a new wave shark? Why don't you get a 150 like a real man?" Like, do you ever get any of that? Like, or do people question it? Because like you do great work with a machine that is like the style machine you have is quite robust, capable, but it's not kind of the run of the mill these days.
And I want to add like a sub part of that question too, of you partner with like every single partner of like Onefinity, just to throw in the name, but like, I mean, you work with Jenny Bits, you work with like, you're part of CNC with me with Hamilton, and
Yeah.
it's like weird. It's like a left turn.
It is, and it comes down to stick with the system, is part of it. So when I was buying my first CNC, it came down to, I'm only making cribbage boards. I can't afford. I'm not well, at that time. I cannot afford a $5,000 investment in a machine. So I made $1,000 investment into a small tabletop Shark SD 120, and it served me well until I very quickly outgrew it because I started making tons of production related items. And
as one does.
when it was time to upgrade, it actually right. And when was time to upgrade and I was starting to look around, is when I was really kicking off my content and I started reaching out to a couple of companies. But Next Wave was the first one I reached out to because they're the ones I have. I really loved their product. And I was so excited to work with them and meet them and talk to them. And it was a really great thing to partner with them. So yes, I don't partner with Onefinity, and I know there's a lot of people in this space that do, but I'm so excited to work with an American company that builds it all here, and they're super robust machines. And the best part about it is I literally pick the machine up out of the box and put it on its stand, and there's no building. It's just put together in the box, ready to go. It was great.
Nice. That is a nice little plus.
So you had a 2x4 machine, right?
No, I started with a 1x2, and then now I have a 2x4.
Oh, okay, got you. All right, and that's, to anyone confused, it's not like you think of some of these machines are like 4 feet wide by 2 feet deep. It's the opposite. It's 4 feet on the y-axis, 2 feet on the x.
Correct.
But you can still stack it up against the wall. But the spindle or the gantry moves along the length of the piece. So you're almost setting up your work sideways.
I am, but I set it up. The reason why I went with this machine and I wanted to go with this machine was because I wanted to start getting more into end tables and side tables and cutting out the legs and everything on the CNC.
Stay in your lane, Alex.
Dan will burn you down.
Look at my tables, man. I'm already coming for you. So,
damn it. Oh,
you start making bow ties, we're gonna have problems.
Yeah, he called his first table the Dunlap. So,
so I already. I hate to say this, Dan, but I do have a new product line in the works with a local maker, and it might be some bow tie stuff.
All right.
Oh,
wow.
But I will say they're not just bow ties, and they're mostly like Sasquatches and things Pacific Northwest themed that you're going to use.
That's
all right.
fine.
All right. Little UFO ties.
It's gonna be hard to be Dan some days. Just everybody gunning after every single.
I built an empire on bow ties.
It's super hard, Dan. Thank you.
And then you got this guy that calls himself your friend, like just cleaning up the scrap. Like you're just picking all the meat from the bone over here.
You can have every zero clearance insert. I won't touch them.
Thank you.
That's
my
that's
kids
what
still need to
everybody
eat.
says.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so I'm all dry on questions. I'm sorry, I leaned into it. I was like, I'm gonna.
No, it's good. It's all good.
I'm gonna grill Alex on all the info. This is good. I do think we should jump into what's on a bench. But
really,
keep it tight onto keep it on the topic
and concise.
Because you guys had one of the most sketchy, weird, but then the most successful craft fair ever, and I've got my big one coming up this weekend. We're all just sandwiching craft fairs right now. So why don't we do a quick little what's on my bench?
Why not?
And why don't Dan and Braden? Why don't you guys do a quick little tandem?
Braden, you go. You start.
Dan,
Braden.
this was your craft fair. So
this was my craft fair.
So there they were, right in the warehouse.
You're probably wondering how I got in this spot.
Downtown in the industrial district.
The year was 1995.
This was I guess this is the craft fair that I normally do. So what Braden and I have done is Braden always books this one craft fair at a high school, and then I'll come along with him, and then I book this craft fair. It's called Bench Made. It's in downtown Omaha by the baseball stadium. It's in the what they call the makerhood. So there's a lot of businesses downtown that they're all maker based. So there's God, my brain just fried. What is that thing, Braden?
There's another woodworker down there.
Yes, there are other woodworkers.
There's a lumber yard or a slabbery. I don't know if that's the technical term.
What is that word? It's upcycle. No, it's what is it called? The barn
refinisher?
Nope. Barnwood. Barnwood. Barnwood.
Reclaimed.
Reclaimed wood. Gee
Oh my
whiz.
goodness.
Oh my
I
God. Can we edit that out? Can it? Is that a?
Should we touch?
No, that's
touch
got to
dot
stay
tips?
Oh well, it's normal for me, Alex. It's fine if you haven't listened to this.
Cheers.
Yeah, there's
Fresh
a
one, too.
reclaimed wood store down there. There's you name it, it's down there. Anyway, it's based down there. It's in this warehouse called Bench, and normally when they have this craft fair, they do it in this big open warehouse. And when I say open, I mean open. It's almost open to the elements because it's like an old rundown warehouse where it's like missing windows and stuff, and it's got a really cool vibe to it. But in years past, it's gotten really cold and people have complained, so they decided to move it over to their warehouse, which is more of a bunch of enclosed studios. And when we saw that, they put us in like this a room by ourselves, and we're like, oh no, because that kind of like takes away from our ability to like interact with people walking by. And so like right away I'm like, this is awful, I'm not into this, I don't know if I'm coming back next year, if this is going to be a thing. I was ready to leave in the first hour. Like I'm out. Not only were we in a room, but the room was lit by this terrible fluorescent lighting. Awful fluorescent lighting. As a matter of fact, when I first got there in the morning, one was flickering, and it flickered until it got warmed up, and I was like, oh thank God. If it was going to flicker all day, I was absolutely going to be there.
I would have just gone up
we
there
were-
and just taken it out.
We were one step away from it being one single like naked bulb swinging around interrogation style.
Oh,
So anyways, we're there, and things did start picking up, and I think it was one of our best craft fairs to date.
I went and checked the numbers.
Financially.
Yeah, I checked the numbers. We were flat compared to what we did last year, which was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked. I thought we would be lucky if we made back our booth. But we did, and we did very well. So I'm super happy. One of the things that I think Pete brought up subtly earlier during when we were talking anyways, is I took some tables, some pre-made tables, obviously. And one of them happened to be for a customer that already purchased it on Etsy, but I was taking it just as a filler. I didn't expect to sell it. Well, you could probably see where this is going. I sold the table that person had already bought to somebody else, a purveyor at the craft fair.
He didn't even hesitate. Hey, can I buy this? It's yours.
Oh, this old thing?
That table was ready to be shipped out.
Listen,
Like
two in a
on-
bush is worth one on Etsy. Am I right?
I mean, the
That's
person on
science.
Etsy already paid full price, so like, I'll get
That's
him
true.
another one.
He was already working for free on that table anyway because
So-
he paid for it.
Somebody bought that table and they were super happy. And I turned to Braden and I was like, that table's already sold. I'm gonna have to remake it. And Sutton happened to be there too, and I was like, oh, excuse me, you'll be remaking that table. Anyways, like
That's
30
great.
minutes after I sold that table, that person messaged me on Etsy and said, hey, where's my table? I was like, oh,
Where's my product?
it's like they had a
disturbance of the
camera that
force.
was
Yeah, we had to check to make sure Dan hadn't posted it in stories already.
So I said, Braden, I was like, should I tell them that I just sold it and I'm gonna have to remake it? And he's like, no, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. I was like, yeah, that's probably a bad idea. Okay.
that's how you get an Etsy help request.
Oh no!
It's funny because it's true. Yeah, we did good. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious thing here, and we have said this every single time this topic has come up, every time we talk about craft fairs, Dan and I do not give one single flying F what the organizers think about us starting fires in buildings.
Oh yeah, we're starting that place up. As a matter of fact, before you go on, the owner of this studio came in and he's talking. He likes to go around and look at everything, and he actually ended up buying something from us. And Braden was going to start a demo for the whiskey smoker while he was in there, and I'm like, Ben, I'm going to have you avert your eyes real fast because I don't want you to see what's going on, so you don't have any culpability. He goes, oh no, and he turned his head. So, I mean, he knew what was going on, but like he didn't watch, so it was pretty funny.
We
I
set up
hope your liability insurance is up to date.
Well, we don't have any, but anyway, go on.
Our liability insurance is a firm handshake.
Trust us,
yeah, I mean,
bro.
We set up the outside of this room so people walked in and they were right in the middle of every single display we had, and visible from the door, like you peek your head in the door, you saw whiskey smokers. And we just made the big display demo board that Hamilton has on CNC with me. We made
sellouts.
We made the display rack that goes vertical with them.
You did the 3 or the 4?
We did 3.
But he made it out of curly cherry.
Okay, all right.
Busting,
so nice happy medium. Busting.
Plus, we had our stacks. I completely ripped off Alex's packaging here. His little burlap sacks with like the little peer through. Classy. So that was the first thing that anybody saw. Dan and I cleaned up on whiskey smokers. We had a couple of a couple of ladies walked in. We did the demo. They thought that we were the funniest thing on earth. They loved everything that we said. And every single one of them walked out with at least one whiskey smoker, a couple with 2. They went and grabbed several friends and brought them to make us do the demo again.
Yeah.
There's a whiskey smoker in every home now at this point. Like we
I hope you plug the podcast. They'd be vivid listeners.
Hey, do you guys want to sponsor the podcast, actually?
Yeah.
No,
hey,
we ain't doing that well. We ain't doing that well.
Here's the thing: like they were great sports too. They laughed at our jokes. Our jokes are not funny, but I mean, they laughed. They were involved. They enjoyed the demo, and so we sold a bunch. So don't listen to Alex. Do demos of whiskey smokers. Burn, baby, burn. So
I'm 100% with Braden. Like, as long as you're careful and you know what you're doing. Well, I think it's
lucky.
fine.
As long as you're lucky.
Also, not having insurance. That was a joke. FYI, we have
business insurance.
Please have insurance.
Look, nothing makes the grain pop on all the wooden objects like water when it sprinkles from the ceiling.
That's the first thing we checked when we got in this room. It was like, oh, there's no sprinklers.
No sprinklers.
Here.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, that's fine.
As a matter of fact, that's a gas pipe, not a water pipe.
Oh no.
You see all the high school craft fairs and stuff I do right now. The last thing I want to do is get that bill for all of the equipment at the end of the year when the sprinklers go off.
I pay extra to make sure that we get the exact same spot every single spring and fall because we've looked. We do have alarms above us, but there's no smoke detectors and there's no heat activated sprinklers.
So what you're saying is you're gonna bring a ladder next year and turn certain things off.
No,
he's saying that
good. We are in a desert. We are in a desert of protection.
Oh, it's not like smoke alarms. It's just alarms.
These are heat
detected alarm.
Just the lights.
Okay,
yeah, so we don't have to worry about them. And I mean, okay. If you're listening, like this sounds dramatic.
The YOLO level of this.
We're not starting bonfires in these buildings. Like there's we're lighting a torch, and
I've only burned a hole in my clothes once or twice. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But we have done the research. We have had one craft fair where we forgot our torch. We sold one whiskey smoker. I can't see that.
I don't know what that is.
We sold one single unit that entire
Dan,
craft.
it's blurry. We can't see it.
Says Drew.
Okay.
It's a message from Drew. We sold one unit that craft fair. We normally do like 30 to 40. So we've done the research. You do the demo or you just don't even bother. Just don't even bother with that product.
Demos sell that product, and I will die on that hill.
You know, you could improve your packaging. I think if you, a buddy of mine, You might not know him. Tyler Booth from Temecula Yard Games. You should probably check out his video on his packaging of the whiskey smoker setup, because it's
looked.
much like every event that you guys are going to be at in 2025. It's fire, right? So it's great. You should definitely check that out.
I see what you did there.
He's got it down.
I'm just going to point out the CNC file that he used to make that specific whiskey smoker is available at littlebugwoodworking.com.
Never
that
heard
is my
of it.
file.
Never heard of it.
And it also busts.
Jeez.
No. I got more. I got more.
thought we were
I got
keeping it
big
tight.
news.
Okay.
I got big news. No, we can't keep this.
It better
tight.
be craft fair related.
It's not. I mean, it could.
You're
can
going
be.
off script here. We have a guest.
Be
Let's talk
craft
about-
fair related.
Let's go talk about today, I bet.
You better believe I'm talking about today. Dan got a new toy in the shop. I got a big old 20-inch 5-horsepower planer, and I'm so pumped. I am so pumped.
Was it
It's the heaviest thing I've ever lifted.
straight knife or helical head?
It's a helical, baby. Helical. It's quiet too. It's so quiet.
Like a
It's
kitten.
so quiet. It purrs.
And the electrical is exactly as safe as our fires in buildings.
I saw the video of the electrical. Holy,
it's temporary.
Oh.
It's temporary.
It's scrappy. That's what it is.
it's gonna be there for the next 5 years until the house burns down.
Temporary.
It's gonna be that one TikTok of like, who'd you say did the electrical here? Oh, that's my grandson Thomas. He's real handy. When did his house burn down? Oh, about 2 years ago. How did you know his house burned down?
We shouldn't laugh. I mean,
my.
that actually happens to people, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's going to happen to you.
Oh, Nick said it was fine.
Just run a wire.
That's what we did.
Nick
No.
was short on time.
Go
Nick
the
is gonna
box.
come back.
There's a box.
Here's the only thing that makes me feel safe about it. Sutton also wears PPE and made Dan buy him PPE. Sutton will make sure that gets fixed because Sutton's the one that's going to be running the machine most of the time.
True.
Trust in
Also,
Sutton.
Dan, you're not going to be able to leave that garage door open all the time because you're going to have some angular rain that's going to just
on the jointer.
love to coat
We
that
didn't think
jointer.
about that.
Ask me how I know. I had a jointer that was underneath the garage door, and sometimes it would open up and then just drip, drip, drip.
Oh no.
Oh, F me. I didn't even think of that.
I'm busy whatever day you're thinking about, hey, we can move that back. I'm busy that. I'm sick.
I'm
out of
busy
the
that day.
country.
No, I'm thinking if we just put that
No,
4x8 sheet of MDF back
put the
in the original
planer
spot. it's
joiner side by side in that middle bay or that like second bay that you have. Just put them side by side.
fine. You have no idea how many times we moved my shop around today. I'm done moving it around.
It's called It's Never Done.
It's done.
Today it
Shops
is
are
done
never done.
lapped.
You disgust me.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my Dan Talk.
Alex, did you have any craft fair funness happen this last weekend?
I did. I had a fair. It went very well. And like I said, I am remaking toaster tongs and coffee scoops and whiskey smokers on my bench right now. So I've got the CNC running nonstop.
Nice.
Nice, I love it.
You'd have to run it even more to make more if you started fires in buildings.
True.
I sell plenty of whiskey smokers. I don't need to start fires.
It
in
doesn't
buildings
sound
and
like
get
he's
sued.
hurting.
Thank you very
It doesn't
much.
sound like he's hurting. to
Your
stop
fear
running.
of success is keeping you back.
I'm just trying to get you into a 90 by 40 spaceship port as soon as possible.
after the fire insurance fraud that the suit that he wins.
Yeah. If that's the case, I'll talk to some of those vendor locations and see what we can work out. As a
That
deal.
high school gymnasium burned down and it threatened my life. I'm suing for $90 million.
No, fire insurance fraud is how I'm trying to get Dan into a bigger shop. Like, let's keep our stories straight here.
Oh, like a 9x9 cell with a roommate?
It's not fraud if Nick
Yeah,
Trim
but
did
can I
it.
fit
Yeah,
my
you keep
planer
this
in
up.
there?
Dan's going to be pressing plates at a county jail.
All he has to do is leave those license
I
plates
wish I had a
out in the
CNC.
rain to get a little rust, and they will be perfect for junk stock. We'll sell them for
God.
$10 a pop.
Oh, this place is Trail Boss. I was going to get that one. Oh.
There's 37 people with Trail Boss on their driver's license.
So dumb. All right, I'll be quick. It's not what's on my kind of what's on my bench. I have a craft show this weekend. What? So I'm doing my one this year. We did one holiday event or one event, and it's the holiday event. It's at Tranquility Farms. We've made between 1,000 to 1,300 every time we've done it for the 2 days. Usually Saturday is the bussin' as Dan would say day, and then
no, that's Braden's word.
I don't know. Shut up. I'm talking. Okay. And then Sunday is kind of like a cleanup day, and then historically the last 2 years, Sunday it's always just been like in the below freezing. Sometimes it snows. It's rough weather. We're getting some of Dan and Braden's weather this weekend. You're getting welcome. The Arctic chill.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's going to be a high of 36 that day on Saturday and a low of 28. So hopefully we get some people that come out. Yeah.
You really need to start those fires.
Yeah, I'm just going to be burning stuff right there. We bring our own heater. But so the couple of things that are different than last year. So this is our big event. I'm not a big craft show guy. I don't mind doing them, but I also don't want to hold a lot of inventory on site. I keep everything in like I said, 3-4 totes, like large Home Depot black and yellow totes, and it's easy to move. I have the trailer, by the way, Alex, and it's a 5x8, but like the inside diameter is dimensions are 4.5 by 7.5. Fits tables, fits the shelves, fits the totes, and a hand truck. It's golden. It's the best. Just bring everything one trip. It's amazing. Also, I have a hand truck that it flips down with just the front part, so you can put heavy totes on it, or you can lay it on its side and use that flip out as a handle, and it's almost like a long dolly, so you're able to really stack totes on it. Highly recommend. If you do a lot of craft shows, get one that converts from horizontal to vertical. Real useful.
Would you describe it as a hand F-150?
It's honestly, if anything, it was a hand Ridgeline. It's the best truck out there. It's
okay. Anyway, it's been fun.
Is it a hand truck? Is it a trolley? No one will ever know. It's very hand truck neutral.
You can't bring it to Bellevue, Nebraska, or else it'll get a flat tire and you might die.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the first thing that changes. It's the weather. It's going to be just 1 day, not 2 days. The weather's going to be rough. I don't 100% have my helper leading up to the event. So having Emma in the shop is huge the week or two leading up to the show, because
Emma is a tiny person.
But while I'm sanding, doing all the crazy stuff, my wife's over by the laser, press start. It finishes. She picks it out. She starts gluing them and cleaning it, and she does a little sanding, whatever. And when I'm just by myself, I realize that was a huge job. Just pressing the button, you can't discount having help in the shop, right?
No.
So because to Alex to explain, we had a daughter. She was born in August. She's named after your dish soap blanks, Juniper. So, which I could see where you got the name. It's a stout, nice, soft.
Rot resistant.
Really dense hardwood, very opinionated. So
sometimes brittle.
We have our daughter now, so Emma can't help me in a shop as much, and I didn't plan for that mentally. So last week I was I have a whole week to prep. No, you don't. No, you're by yourself. You need to double, if not triple that time. So I am scrambling. Luckily I have a good amount of stock, but I went downstairs and I'm I have 8 cutting boards. I need to make more cutting boards. That's not enough. So I'm scrambling to wrap up Cutting Board Awareness Month to try to get some boards to bring awareness to Drew Witt and get some stuff for the shop. But again, boards aren't my main bread and butter for these markets, but they tend to bring in the most people because I have vertical storage for them. So people can kind of walk up to them oh, these are cool. $200. Okay. So it's one of those markets. That's why I've been thinking about lowering my prices, because people tend to be a little oh, that's a little high, but the ornaments sell really well. So the one bummer is every year I come out with at least 1 to 2 brand new ornaments, like a new series to keep adding to the triple layer ones that I make that are like walnut, Baltic birch. I glue them together so it's a nice 3-dimensional thing. I didn't design one this year. And I feel like a failure. It's like the first year, like I didn't make one for the show. So I'm kind of scrambling, but I think we're going to be okay. We have enough stock. We have enough material, like things finished already to be okay if I do nothing else the next 2 days. But I'm off tomorrow, aside from making a turkey and Thanksgiving and giving thanks. And Friday I work most of the day on call, so maybe I can run the laser and stuff. So we'll see.
I'll have you know we give thanks all year.
All year? Yeah.
All year.
What are you thankful for?
If you need more stock, I know a dude that does wholesale.
Oh, really?
Hey, Alex, I know somebody that might need some wholesale.
Yeah, I hear that.
He knows a guy that knows a guy.
You know,
And now that we know the pricing structure, we're going to find out if he thinks you're a big deal or a little deal that needs help.
Ooh.
yeah, exactly.
Whoa. Whoa.
This is a great deal. This is
Hey,
fantastic.
you know what you can do? You know what you can do for your ornament? You can design one. Just make one. And if somebody wants to buy that one.
So one other thing I was actually thinking of is because you mentioned like you have ornaments as cheap as $3, right? I have tons of files for just single layer ornaments. Like just engrave them, cut them out, whatever, and that's it. I was really trying to like provide a certain level of quality for the stuff that I have. Like it adds a little extra flair. You know what? Maybe I just need a batch of I just cut a bunch of those and I just offer that like $3, $4, or $5 ornament. And maybe people will buy them. Who knows? So we're going to see. We're going to try some stuff out. I got 2 days. I'll report next week when we have another guest on. We'll talk about that then. Cool. But why don't we get into some questions? Because we have some good ones for Alex. Before we do that, I have to play a thing here that is...
Oh, Black Betty, ramble lamb.
Apparently that's our questions thing. So let's start with Malcolm, the voice of AWP, and our guest next week.
Hey guys, it's Malcolm from Bossanova Woodworks, and I just want to say hello to my friend Alex. Welcome to the show, and remember, you're always number one in my book, pal. Okay, I want to thank everyone for their support for Cutting Board Awareness Month. As the event comes to a close, my question this week is about how you store cutting boards. I'm not talking about the ones that you use. I'm talking about some of us, Pete especially, make cutting boards once a year in bulk. How do you store those in a way that keeps them safe and you can distribute them throughout the rest of the year? Okay, bye.
Great question.
Good question. I'll give you a quick answer on that. So I use the, it's like a thicker foam. It's almost a 1/4 inch that you can get on a roll. And I wrap them up and they go into that black tote. I have photos of them. I have them marked out with price and everything. Sometimes I'll list them on Etsy, but they get wrapped up and they live in that tote. So I just bring them out for the shows. But if somebody buys one, if they're like, hey, what boards do you have for sale? Like friends or family that they know I always have some boards sitting around. They're like, hey, you got any 8 ounce boards? And I'll be like, yeah, sure. Like, here's what I have. And I send them some photos. Like... Literally that. I just send them some photos. Like, which one do you like? Oh, you like that kind? You're kinky. Okay. All right, cool. So like, like this is what it is. So I can send them a photo. I can give them a price. I have that right now. But I wrap them up, not quite in thick bubble wrap, but I put them in those totes. That's where they live. I try to keep them out of the elements. They're just stored in the basement in a cool, dry place. And that allows me to quickly transport them to the show or to have them easy to grab anytime I need them. So highly recommend. Alex, how do you store your stuff?
Almost identical to yours, except that since they get stored in my garage, I crack the tote open a little bit because I live in a very rainy area. So the moisture content is constantly changing up and down a lot. So if I crack the tote, it allows it to move and it doesn't get icky inside the tote or warp the boards.
That's a good point.
But otherwise, that foam is perfect. Wrap them up. You lay them vertically with each other, so you just basically can flip them like old records as you're trying to find the one you want.
Right on. Dan?
I keep mine in the totes that I carry them around in. No foam, because I'm not as good as Pete and Alex. I might oil them the night before a craft fair. Sometimes I oil them at the craft fair.
You don't have to do that.
People are like, why is this oily?
If they're not scuffed from being beat around in a tote
Hush.
You don't have to re-oil them.
Why are you moving the totes around so much? They should be fine.
It's a craft event.
Oh, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Braden?
Yeah, this is, as always, Dan and I are on the same page. My totes are Silence of the Lambs. We pack up from the craft fair, and I don't look at them until the next craft fair. So I just hope I've got inventory in there.
Fair enough.
I think there's stuff
Bubble
in there.
wrap, thick foam. Y'all are raising weak cutting boards. I
Right.
want,
I mean,
I
it's
want
like-
strong cutting boards.
Make your boards thicker.
It's not quarter inch, just like thicker than 1/8 inch.
Go ahead.
It's a lot of little foam or paper towels.
Paper towels are good too. If it's a lot of the same size. And
How do you
stuff.
feel about Kleenex?
It's
I
when
don't
I have a
use
lot of
Kleenex.
weird sizes, I definitely like foam them up a little bit because then I'll just pack it in there.
So sometimes I might try and like push the tablecloths like into the cracks. Esque.
Why are these tablecloths oily?
Yeah,
That's how you can tell that they're all natural.
lots
That's
of
what-
wax and oil residue.
That'll
That's
get
what
you
you call
disqualified from your.
butterballing the boards.
Yeah, you'll get disqualified from that junk event that you were doing
They would probably pay us extra to show up.
for oily
This is
tablecloths?
super junky. This is perfect.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of super junky, here's the other question from Malcolm. And he wrote this one in like a pleb, so we had to do an AI voice.
Hey guys, it's Malcolm, the voice of AWP. My question this week is for Alex Duffey, not that other Alex. I noticed you're really into UFOs. Just curious if you've ever been probed? It's fine either way. And if this comes across weird, it's because Alex too got a hold of my phone. Okay, bye.
Alex, are those space pants? Because that ass is out of this world.
Love that. First of all, that voice sounded a lot like Malcolm.
It was
Really
pretty
did.
Malcolm
accurate.
start doing voiceover work
Yeah.
like AI chatbots.
The AI chatbot stole his voice. Second, they don't probe you if you're one of their own.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, and let me expand on that just a little bit. We have a running gag in my family that I am an alien, and it comes from when my mother dropped me off at daycare as a child for the very first time. Apparently, when I came home from daycare that first day, I didn't laugh or smile or basically interact with them for like a full week. And so they say that I was swapped out with an alien or their child was swapped out with an alien, and I was acclimating for that first week.
No, that just means you went to a public school kindergarten and you saw some and like that's
Right?
all it was.
So, no, I have never been probed, but it's because I'm one of them.
Okay.
Love it.
Interesting. Interesting take. I'd never heard that take before. And I can't dispute it. So, okay.
Sasquatch is real. Anyways, here's Sarah from Rosie's Woodshop.
Girlies, Peter, you did great reenacting me last week, or 2 weeks ago. And this isn't a question. It is just, I am very thankful for the three of you. You have been a big help to me this past year. And I just hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your families. And happy holidays.
It blows my mind that every week we
Oh,
recording this and people are like, "Hey, this helped," and I'm like, "Why?"
Why? Who hurt you?
But thank you. But also, why? I'm glad we're here as a support system.
It's brave of her to think that I'm going to have Thanksgiving with my family. Did you not hear what I just bought? I bought that without permission. My family is
oh
disarming.
no.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
all,
la
it's all gone.
la.
You're at the kids' table tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
No, the
Maybe.
kids are at the adult table and there's a Dan table.
Dan's at the kid table.
I can eat at one of my side tables. It's okay. It's okay.
But you know, on that note,
What are you doing?
No, not for the Thanksgiving is holy. Leave this one alone. I will say though, listen, we're all very thankful for this podcast. We've been doing this for 229 episodes.
What?
We've had close to 700 guests on here at this point.
The math checks out.
Yeah, the math checks out. And like the community keeps calling in, keeps asking questions, people keep referencing it, and it's honestly, it blows my mind. It blows my mind that this is a thing at all. Because, like, who are we?
It's really a sign that like the quality of Netflix opportunities has really gone down. Like there's just not much great TV.
Yeah, like who are we? We're somebody. That's it. But yeah, I am very thankful for all of our listeners, Sarah, Alex, Malcolm, all the regulars that call in. Josh the dad, we miss you. You know, all the regulars, like and all the people that haven't listened since when Mike was on the show. Mike's gone now. You can listen. So, like Alex's friend that called in.
It's safe now.
It's safe now. But
are we doing the I'm thankful for? Is this that segment?
I was just kind of wanted to give a general shout out, but please, Dan, I would love for you to be. What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for you guys. I'm very grateful for you. You really did me a huge solid a couple of weeks ago. We won't go into details, so I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for a lot of things.
Many poems and sonnets were written about it.
I'm grateful for my business that is staying afloat. I'm grateful for my family that supports me. I'm grateful for my wife he's not going to divorce me for buying a planer. She was actually very receptive of the purchase. I was like shocked. I was like, you need to tell me I could have bought wheels and tires and it did fine.
But also fix your drum sander, please. It works fine.
Thank you for the reminder. Those parts should have been here today.
Oh, so it's still broken. Okay.
Yeah. That's it. I'm thankful for this community as a whole. I mean, this is a really, really great community. It's got its little pebbles and little things that are annoying, but as a whole, it's a really great community. And I couldn't be part of a better community.
Don't talk about Nick Brim like that. He is average sized, not little.
I'm really grateful for Nick Brim as well. He was over today. He helped wire up my shop. It may or may not burn down, but you know, he did it out of the kindness of his heart. He took time out of his day and he came over and did that.
You know what pisses me off? Not pisses me off, but just like it's so confusing. Dan was like, I don't know how to look planer, right? And then like just 3 grown ass men show up at 1:00 on a Wednesday at his house, fully ready to like provide manpower and electrical help and all that stuff. Like, man, if I'm sick, I can barely get anyone. Be like, well, I clock out at 5. Like Dan's got people that just will. Like,
well, to be fair,
I got show up right now.
I got 2 guys. And Sutton's only here because of Ham.
One was there because he was getting paid.
The Boakes brothers. Braden, you thankful for anything aside from Dot's pretzels?
Not a thing.
Did you put those back in the bag after licking them?
I set them down so that I can talk without like shoving a dot in my mouth. And if it's in my hand, my like obsessive compulsion to eat I'm gonna eat it while I'm talking. So no, I'm thankful for, same as Dan. I have a very supportive family. I ran off at 1:00 today to go help another man set up a wood shop, and my wife and daughter were just like, cool, that's just what Dad does.
Finally, he's gone.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be honest. I think that's like 90% of it. Those two are so like peas in a pod that when I walk in, it's very much like, great, the noisy one's back. But I'm honestly,
meanwhile the dog was home all day.
I'm kind of thankful.
Dogs.
Yeah, dogs. Yeah, no. Chase gets the exact same looks that I do when we both walk in. But no, I mean, very supportive family. I've got a very supportive, community around me. Some of my best friends are right here on this screen, and Pete's here too.
Ouch.
Now I feel bad. Oh my God. I'm sorry, Pete.
Oh no. Bye-bye.
But
Come back.
I'm waiting for him to come back. Is he crying?
Probably. Keep going.
Now I feel bad.
Oh no, I turned off my video, so now it's like defaulted to another application. It's doing that thing.
Oh, the joke backfired.
There it is. Look, I'm back.
But, and then, end of the day, I'm thankful that making exists. Like I'm not a surgeon. Like my life is not so high stress that I need the outlet, but I mean, life is hard, and making is a really, really great outlet for a lot of us. And it's something that I constantly think, man, if I wasn't doing something in a shop, if I wasn't running a CNC, if I wasn't doing this, how would I be doing with my time? Like I'd just be miserable. So I'm thankful that we have access to like tools and processes and things that we, 10, 20, 50 years ago, this would like blow people's minds. 3D printers, like 50 years ago, we're just making stuff show up. So I'm thankful that we live in a time that we do, like for 90% of the stuff that's happening right now. Because it's like we live in the future. It's really, really cool. So I'm thankful for that every year.
Alex, you got anything to add? What are you thankful for?
Man, this community is phenomenal. All the people I get to talk to on a daily basis at CNC with me, to my Instagram, just all the makers that I work with is great. I'm thankful for every one of my customers. This is my first year that I'll actually be fully profitable, so I'm excited about that. Even with tool purchases, so I'm very excited.
That's busting.
So I'm thankful that every customer, and of course I'm thankful for my wife because she puts up with it.
Right?
Don't they all? Isn't it great?
It's so nice.
It's great.
We all met like a woman on the internet or in real life, and like eventually they decided like he's safe. He's safe, and like, oh, his hobby means he won't cheat. Like, what is he gonna do? Like
he's got no money, he's got no time.
Let's lock it down.
What's he gonna do? He's tired all the time.
He's tired. This is great.
he's stuck in the garage all the time. We know where he is.
Stellar dad energy.
It's like that TikTok of like, ladies, tell me how you know your man isn't gonna cheat. And like he's just on a lathe turning Christmas ornaments. Or he's standing at a CNC watching it, even though he's run the file like 50 times already.
I got something else to add, if that's okay.
Please.
I am thankful for Alex Duffey being here. This has been one hell of an episode.
Yeah, it's been good.
Thank you.
I guess maybe we'll bring him back.
Yeah, I think we're gonna
eventually.
have to. Yeah. If that's okay with him. If he wants to come back. He might not want to. He might be like, man, screw that.
It's been fine.
Yeah, it's been fine. It's been fine. All right, let's try to wrap this up because we got two last questions. They're both for.
Oh, I thought this was the wrap up.
I saw how you wrapped up, but we just have two last questions. I'm gonna play. So this one's from Dustin from Shop Humble.
Yikes!
Hey guys, this is Dustin from Shop Humble, longtime listener, first time writer. I had a question for Alex. I would like to know how you find out about different craft shows in your area. I used to vend at a lot of craft shows about a decade ago, and it's been a long time since I've done it, and I'm hoping to get into some next year. And outside of word of mouth and talking to friends who do them occasionally, what's a good way that you've found to find craft shows in your area? Thanks.
Great question. Alex?
Great question. First of all, thank you for running the trash compactor while you were calling in.
I think he was in the chat. He said it was just a CNC.
A
but
CNC with a laser. His laser on a CNC.
Oh, right.
Yes. But the answer to that, there's a couple of things. One, if you're looking to start for next year, start now. Pay attention to what is being marketed out right now, and write them down so you can
marketed where
emailing. Marketed, so you'll find them at your local newspaper. You'll see them on Facebook market or Facebook groups and events. Most areas like the Pacific Northwest, we have a Pacific Northwest vendor group on Facebook, and everybody posts when a show is coming up, and so you can go and find the sign up links. Another thing I would suggest is actually show up to events that you see happening in your community throughout the year and ask one of the vendors, hey, how'd you hear about this? Or is the vendor person here? And then go make that introduction, because then you
feel it out. That's a really good idea. Yeah.
The name to the face.
That's smart.
And so those are the ways that I find my events is it's besides the standard word of mouth and talking to other vendor friends, it's Facebook events and groups in the area that you're already relying on everybody else, but to really get your in with the people who are running these events, because they all know each other anyway, and they like certain vendors, and if you can get in that list, you're golden.
Nice.
That's great. I never thought to like go to these events, just to like prep for next year. That's really good.
Very good.
We do have one more question, but I think we're actually going to save that one till next week.
Yeah,
It's
we're
from,
almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, What Knows Woodworks. It's asking about Shopify. We can kind of lean into it next week. This was all kind of like vendor event heavy. This is so I'll do now what Dan was trying to do 2 minutes ago. Like Alex, thank you so much for joining us. This was one of those episodes that we sometimes have where we're like, this is our guest this week. Cool, that's our guest this week. We're all excited. It's gonna be an episode, right? And I think this was one of our best episodes for a lot of our listeners. The info you provided was amazing. Like it was super detailed. You have a nice reference pool to pull from. So to know what works, what doesn't work. I think the rapid fire round was the best for me, because those quick answers about little things that most people overlook or overthink. And this was awesome. I loved having you on. Thank you so much. We'll definitely have to have you back on in 2025 just to do another pulse check when you go full time and you're like, yeah, so I'm like a full-time YouTuber now. I'm a big deal. What's this podcast about again? Oh, I've been on it before. Cool. That's nice.
Well, thank you guys. I
are still
appreciate
doing
you guys having me on. It's great to talk to you, and I am a longtime lurker listener. I don't call in, but I do listen. So
Very good.
We appreciate that. Where can everyone find you?
you can find me on all of the social medias under Duffey. That's with an EY, Duffey Woodcraft. Make sure if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, please do, because that's the one I'm focusing on and trying to grow.
Just crested 1,000 subscribers, I saw.
Today. Yep.
Everyone go check out his YouTube channel. 100%. Subscribe to that. Subscribe to Instagram. And what's your main area? Are you posting a lot on Instagram or YouTube or kind of both?
Mostly YouTube. I post every 2 weeks. I have a new product video every 2 weeks on YouTube. And then Instagram is my behind the scenes stuff that I post throughout the week.
Love it. Love to see it. Well, I guess we should wrap it up, right?
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Guys, next week we are going to be joined by the voice of AWP, Malcolm from Bossanova Woodworks.
In the middle.
He's going to be joining us, and we're going to just have a grand old time, just kind of BS and have a good time and talk about, the Cutting Board Awareness Month. It's near and dear to our heart. It's a big thing, and we do it to honor our Lord and Savior, Drew Witt. So, we want to make sure that we celebrate it. All praise be Drew Witt. So, with his tiny shop compared to Alex Duffey.
I don't like that. I do not like that.
So we will see you guys at the regularly scheduled time on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing a live with Malcolm. Maybe we should make him do a live intro to my intro.
Yes.
And then we do a live reading of the patrons.
Yes.
That'd be crazy.
Okay. Let's just have him do the whole thing and we just sit there.
The whole thing.
Doing it live.
He reads it like a
He's
novel.
the voice.
Yeah, Dan said, as Braden interrupted.
I like it.
Well,
the less work I have to do, the better.
The good.
Also, want to give a shout out to all of our patrons. You guys help us keep this turkey butterballed. Yeah, I said the thing.
You said the thing.
We appreciate you. If you want to join the Met Army, you can go over to patreon.com/anotherwoodshop podcast and get signed up over there. We even have a free tier.
Yeah.
So
it teases all the things that we release. So, woo.
Alrighty.
Anyways, thank you to Bill Burkle with WTB Woodworking. Go check out his site. And guys, love you all. Bye.
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 Will be a long time.
Bye.